Hello, I'm Karina Salen, RLT coach, relational life therapy coach.
And I'm Steve Salen, and we've been together for over 23 years now.
Yeah, he's my husband.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we would love to share with you real briefly how RLT actually saved our marriage because I was ready to call it quits 4 years ago. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And then we found RLT and we read some books and we really dove into some of the workshops. And now,
It has really transformed us in
yeah,
really meaningful ways. The the work is so actionable is the word that I keep
yeah,
using.
yeah,
It
yeah.
presents a framework with tools, shared language that has really affected how we communicate
Yeah.
in dramatic ways. And it's really helped us identify these patterns that get laid down when we're kids that
Yeah.
you identify.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even last night, shall we tell the people? No. So even last night, we had a trigger happen that previously would have just spiraled down. Like we would have been, oh, it would have been awful.
You would have been walled up. I would have been withdrawn, right?
Right, walled off, and I would have done my whole thing that I used to always do and still do. I still do it, but I catch myself, which is unbridled self expression, just dumping on you. And then you would have shut down.
Shut down, withdraw,
Yeah,
get defensive. Um,
wanting to be right.
well, I want to be right. Exactly,
And
which is
then
the
I would have
defensive.
pursued you and pursued you. And then I would have just stopped and completely walled off and just like stonewalled.
Yeah.
Really good at stonewalling. Learned that in my German upbringing, where my parents literally didn't talk to each other sometimes for a week, literally. I think for both of us, the adaptive child work has been absolutely life changing, and for thousands of people in this work. I used to do work like this inside of my feminine power coaching work that I've done for 12, 13 years with literally thousands of women and see how that adaptive child work, the younger self work is so powerful. And I don't know, for women it might be maybe a little bit easier to get access to that part of ourselves that's underdeveloped and reactive, but for you it was pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the mere concept of even calling it or thinking of it as the adaptive child was helpful to me because I think it would be more my tendency to think I was somehow wrong. The tendencies that I kind of laid down as a child that aren't helpful for me as an adult
Yeah.
are wrong or bad somehow. But really looking at it as I was adaptive. We all are basically adapting to the situations given to us as children. But these patterns are not necessarily helpful or adaptive in our adult, mature relationships.
Not at
But
all.
it was definitely helpful for me to kind of see it that way and kind of help me accept myself better
Mm-hmm.
for those patterns that I did acquire in an adaptive, truly adaptive way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now can see them clearly and see how they are not adaptive
Yeah.
in my mature adult relationships.
Exactly. And actually, what was and is in this work so incredibly helpful is that you do this kind of work, adaptive child slash trauma work, because it is trauma
Mm-hmm.
work in front of your partner, which is absolutely amazing. You might go to therapy by yourself and you do it in the privacy of the office with your therapist, and then you come back to your partner, maybe talk about it, maybe not. But in this work, we do this work in front of each other,
Mm-hmm.
which opens my heart in a huge way to that part of you, for example, that walls off and just hides because he's scared. So it can give me a little like, oh, that's where it's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
which gives a lot of compassion
Yeah,
and grace
yeah,
and patience.
for each other and for ourselves.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Another thing about RLT that's I think been so helpful is it's like I said before, it's so actionable. There's really clear tools that you can use, and it's a little bit like learning a new language or learning a new tool. You're gonna be a little clumsy at it at first.
Going to the gym, lifting weights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but uh, but they're there, and they're actually pretty simple, and they're pretty easy to learn. And even if your partner sees you trying to use one of these tools, maybe clumsily, it still makes a huge difference
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you are trying, and there's that shared language and framework where you can see each other breaking a pattern and using these tools. Even though we might not be using them perfectly, it's still really powerful, like right from the get-go.
Yeah. The shared language piece is huge. The
Mhm.
CNI, the core negative image of your partner, even to say something like, I'm really in the CNI of you right now. Like I'm seeing you at the worst, and I'm going to take a responsible time out, and then we can come back. And then you will understand, oh, okay, so she's triggered about something that she sees me as. And so it just gives you the space where you, instead of the automatic meaning making reaction that you, this losing strategies, you take a little breath and you step back and you center yourself and you're a wise adult and you're like, okay, wait. And then from there, have a choice and act and react differently, which creates a hugely different result.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so much more complicated than what we just talked about. There's so much to it, so multi-layered. But I'm so glad that we found RLT because it literally it's not only did it save our marriage, but it brought us way closer into vulnerability and intimacy with each other.
For sure. And we have 3 children, and we it's been really helpful to in some ways share this process with them, and to model different ways of communicating, and showing them you know our struggles, and how we are committed, but trying to overcome them, and engaging new ways of communicating, and um, sharing that with them in a way that I think is modeling more healthy, mature relationships that are complex and bring stuff up. And so it's been great to be open with the process with our kids too.
Right. And it that's just as you're talking, we're breaking multi-generational patterns, ancestral patterns. I mean, this is, if we're talking bigger picture here for this planet and this world, what we need is more connectedness, more realness, more vulnerability. And to pass that on to the next generation and break that cycle of the old patterns that have been passed down to us for many generations. Um, the other day I taught our son's girlfriend the feedback wheel for communication, which was really powerful. And so anyway, with RLT there are so many different tools and practices, deep dives, resolution of trauma in front of your partner. So just want to invite you to learn more about it. Reach out to me with a free coaching session or discovery session if you want to. And I'm here to support you. And in the meantime, we are going to hold the torch of relationality and compassion and connectedness for you. And you and I are going to keep practicing.
Oh yeah. Daily.
Minute by minute, often.
Yeah.